and girls, welcome to Paul Leslie Presents. On this episode, Paul Leslie presents Wesley Cook. Wesley Cook has been featured in Rolling Stone magazine. Both of his albums, We've Been Here Before and New Ground, have been award nominated. He's performed throughout the Atlanta, Georgia area and around the world. We're going to start the show with a performance from Wesley Cook of his song, Leave It All Behind. Let's hear it.
Let your hair down just a little more. Little girl, go and take on the world. It's beautiful on the outside you are, oh, but inside a prisoner you are. Don't take those little things and make them mountains to take some part of your day. I'm just a little bit more than concerned that you'll let these things push you away. 'Cause born free you are, born free you'll die. So don't let you lock you away. Don't do it. Born free you are, born free you'll die. So don't let you lock you away. No, just leave it all behind. Live your life like you'll die tomorrow. Dream like you never will. Run through the rain like you're free and you're crazy. And I'll follow you until we reach the ends of this earth. Turn around, walk on back to the other side. Float off drunk on the music we make and leave it all behind. Well, 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 don't you dare trade being outside today in exchange for standing in line. 'Cause that's no way to go through your life, honey, and it sure as hell ain't mine. Don't take the little things and make them mountains to take some part of your day. 'Cause I'm just a little bit more than concerned that you'll let these things blow you away. 'Cause born free you are, born free you'll die. So don't let you lock you away. 'Cause born free you are, born free you'll die. So don't let you lock you away. No, just leave it all behind. Live your life like you'll die tomorrow. Dream like you never will. And run through the rain like you're free and crazy. And I'll follow you until we reach the ends of this earth. Turn around, walk on back to the other side. And float off high over the music we make and leave it all behind. And live your life like you'll die tomorrow, but dream like you never will. And run through the rain like you're free and crazy. And I'll follow you until we reach the ends of this earth. Turn around, walk on back to the other side. And float off high on the music we make and leave it all behind. Well, 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 well,
Wesley Cook, it's a great pleasure.
Thanks for having me back, Paul.
Who is Wesley Cook?
Wesley Cook is a singer-songwriter. That's a easily but profound question. Let's see. Singer-songwriter, But I'm just a dude. I love spending time with my family and friends. It's just I don't know. I don't really. I like to do a lot of work, and I like to do a lot of challenging things, but I don't really fancy myself being very different from just being a dude. So it's kind of hard for me to identify that.
Yeah.
Really, just kind of here.
Well, let me ask you this then. Why do you do what you do?
I guess what I do is also kind of varied, but I write music because it's easily the strongest force in my life. It's always been a big influence for me. It's always been sort of a friend and a release, and it's always been these different things that are very substantial in life. People find that one thing, and this happens to be mine. It just encapsulates everything about me. As far as being an artist, yes, but to work in this industry and to try to get your name out there is a phenomenal amount of work and attention, and I really like challenges. I always have, and I figured it'd be the marrying of constantly having to work at something, and you have to travel and meet people, and so it just encompasses everything about me while doing something artistic that easily is the strongest thing that speaks to me.
Anyone that is familiar with your work would notice that there's extremely upbeat songs like Leave It All Behind that you performed earlier, and then there are songs that can be very dark, like Father of the Sun from your first album.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a certain type of song that comes easier for you to write?
I think every artist goes through, every artist is the sum of his surroundings and influences and things like that. And, everybody has, I think, periods where they find a band or an artist or something happens to where there's something in that situation that you really want to get out. Just as an artist, you want to, you put out whatever is the sum of your influences. And so I'm no different. And so, I'll just be kind of in a mood, or I'll strum on the guitar and it'll have a certain sound, and I'll feel it has a specific emotion or subject embodied in that, and I try to mimic it with a story of some kind. So neither one is necessarily easier or harder. It just depends on what mood I'm in and what is influencing me at the time, either through other artists or my own experiences.
Would you say that you're more gifted at writing lyrics or composing the melody?
I don't know about gifted for either one of those, but let's see here. The way that I gauge that really is what other people say. I don't know. I'm not. I have a tough time being objective about such things. It's just a relative thing to me. But I think it's a bit of both. I don't know if any one has been more overwhelming, but if I had to choose, probably lyrics, I'd say. But in the end, the lyrics and the melody have to coincide well, so it's a constant marrying of these two things. I'll either have lyrics and then eventually come across the music for it, or I'll have music and then I'll have these volumes of notes and whatever, or it'll just come pouring out all at once, which is obviously the best way to go if you're lucky enough to strike that in yourself. But I wouldn't be able to identify one or the other too specifically.
Do you have to try to find inspiration, or does inspiration find you?
It finds me. A lot of artists will say that, it wakes them up at 3, 4 in the morning, like it's just this thing in your head and you can't get out. That happens to me regularly, but, I live a lot of life. I don't have a whole lot of routine exactly. I try to be on the road as much as I can. I try to, get what I'm doing out to people as often as I can. So there's a lot of different stuff just embedded in my life experiences all the time. I'm in a different part of the country, or, I experience a lot of things, and not all of them are necessarily relatable to each other. So I think life hands me enough because of the way that I've wired my life to be.
You're based here in Atlanta, Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
But it was kind of a long, strange trip to get here. You've lived in a lot of different places. Yeah. As far as the songwriters and singers here in Atlanta, who would you say you have the greatest respect for? Maybe not just one, but a couple.
Well, there are... I've been in Atlanta for about 4.5 years now, and I do very much associate this with being my home base. I'm very comfortable here, and there's certainly a lot more music here than I think people understand, but it's slowly but surely being nationally recognized. But of my friends and colleagues, there are a handful who stand out immediately. Tyler Lyle is one who is, I was just impressed with him immediately. He's just a beautiful songwriter, and we had a chance to work together one time. And Jessica Kane is also phenomenal. She's as talented as she is beautiful. You know, she's the intersection of just, this doesn't even make sense. You know, she's charming and an excellent songwriter and a brilliant singer, you know, so she's way up there. But there are several who spring to mind. Maggie Smith is great. She's starting to be a lot more active these days, and all these people are just sort of bubbling beneath the surface. They've had some placements here, they've been on TV there, you know, none of these are like household names or anything, but any one of these people could just go tomorrow, you know, and so it's exciting to see, and I'm very proud of them, and I'm certainly impressed with them.
Artists are dream followers. What is your dream?
You know, in a way, I'm already living it. You know, I mean, I'm a fairly simple person, but I do have a really strong work ethic, and I'm happy now, but I'm never complacent. You know, it's like, I love challenges, I love hard work, and I love having to bob and weave with challenges. I just kind of need that thing. And so even if I don't know, became an overnight household name somehow, and I was a multi-millionaire, the dream, you know, which we're all kind of going for at least in some way, I think, which I'm definitely going for. Who doesn't want their message to be overwhelmingly successful? You know, I think that's cool. But, you know, it's not like I feel like I will have been a failure if I don't get there. You know, I'm happy now. You know, I have these great people in my life, and I meet more people all the time, and people genuinely respond to what I'm trying to do, which is the most rewarding thing that there is. You know, so I'm already living it in a lot of ways. But, you know, even if I became a household name, I'd still have mountains to climb, so to speak. I would still need a challenge. I would go get something. And so I have so much farther to go in my career from that thing, you know, that ethereal, is it even possible thing, you know, that I'm definitely going for, you know, not just for myself, but for the people who've been there with me and for me this whole time, you know, some new, some old, but, you know, I think I'm already there in a lot of ways.
There's a song that you wrote recently that you're going to perform for us. I was hoping you could tell us about it. Where We Want to Be.
Mm-hmm. Well, my oldest brother, Doug, passed away recently, and he took his own life, unfortunately. And you know, he had been struggling with himself in this thing for a long time, you know, so it's a terrible set of circumstances, you know, and obviously it happens enough, you know, it's not like this is a rare thing, unfortunately. But the song was very, very cathartic for me personally, and that's one thing about this third album that I'd like to go record is, other than artistically it's time to put stuff out and whatever, but personally this has a lot of, it's never been so personal for me to write a song, you know. Like you mentioned before, Father of the Sun, you know, people always like, oh my God, did that happen to you? Like, what is that? You know, it's like, no, it was theoretical, you know, but now I'm writing from actual life-changingly difficult things, you know. And so that song in particular is just talking about my point of view in the whole thing as the process has gone until where I am now. And it's mostly about, you know, not taking more blame or guilt for the situation than is warranted or that makes sense. You know, I think a lot of people take it the wrong way, like, what could I have done, this and this, and that'll torture you, and you'll follow the person, you know, into the grave. You know what I mean? So, and the times I have played it out, it's been great that people have responded as well as they have, and even if it hasn't happened to them, they kind of relate to it, and I don't know, I did that song for me, and I'm really happy that other people can connect with it well, too.
Well, let's hear it.
see you sitting by the window, lost in your own mind. Trying to carry on while the burden of the whole world rests inside. And you say you've lost your firelight, it may be alright, but I'll fight for you like a boxer, eyes swollen shut and swinging for the prize. Floating over troubled waters, leaving all your hopes and fears behind, and rising to a new horizon, golden moon and silver stars align. And there will be a time when we'll all be where we want to be. And you say you can't go on, but I beg you, let me carry you. But a pillar in a house of cards is only brought to life if it lets you. And it tears out my pride, places inside my inability to strip you of your sorrows and cover you with hope, to see you smile again. And floating over troubled waters, leaving all your mortal coil behind. Rising to a new horizon, golden moon and silver stars align. And there will be a time when we'll all be where we wanna be. And there will be a time, I swear, when I'll hold your shaking hands through the dark. Though maybe not for years to come, but you'll have a home like a candle in my heart. Until we are reunited, I'll see you alive in my dreams. And I'll carry on, and I'll always feel you watching over me. Floating over troubled waters, leaving all your flesh and bones behind. And rising to a new horizon, golden moon and blinding stars align. And there will be a time when we'll all be where we wanna be. Oh, oh,
Another life-changing event that happened to you recently was something called Burning Man.
Yeah.
What was that experience like?
Burning Man is it's a wild experience, and it's easily one of the most life-changing, transcendent experiences that I've ever had, ever. It's a huge festival out in the middle of Black Rock Desert, Nevada. There's nothing there. You know, it doesn't support life. There's nothing there. So you're cut off from the world, and there's this artificial utopia that they sort of set up or whatever. But it's basically very reaffirming as far as your belief in yourself as a person, but also in the general goodness of humanity. Because it's basically, this year there were 55,000 people, and they had to cap it at 55,000 people. So it's basically 55,000 people who are like you, who are artistic and open-minded and generally interesting, and they all want to meet you, pretty much. They're all there to hang out and to, experience life through other people, in a very communal, very strong sense like that. And there's lots of art and lots of music, and it's just amazing. Just very eye-opening, and I came back kind of sad because it was over, but completely rejuvenated in myself and in humanity at large. Because all that tells you is hey, there's a lot of groovy people out there, so don't lock up your grooviness because they need you to be groovy to find them, or for them to find you. You have to be yourself to be a beacon for people like you, And so it's just, is a powerful experience.
What are some of the challenges of being an independent recording artist?
Well, every generation for any industry has their challenges, so it's MySpace and, the internet made it, oh my God, this is so easy now. We have all this free advertising. There's a million places to put my stuff, and it's all free, and, they're all mediums that people use. But now the challenge isn't how do I get around having to have a record label fund everything. Now the challenge is how do I stand out over the static of everybody being able to be in everybody's face all the time, anywhere in the world. I've been on iTunes forever, but not many people know I'm on there. It's like, I could sell an album on the moon now if I wanted to, but first I have to make sure people on the moon know I exist.
Right.
That's the challenge. As long as you're writing songs and staying the course and trying to be as intelligent as possible as you can about who's listening, your fans will always tell you what to do. Just by watching who's showing up, where, why, what do they like, And I'm not saying mold towards what they want, but, if you have a formula and you have what you do, try to pay attention, So it's really no different from any other business model, really. And the biggest challenge is easily standing out over the static. And anything, it's very consumer empowered now. It's not so, that's why terrestrial radio is going away, because we're not going to sit through commercials. I'm not going to be at home at this time to watch this show. I'm going to Hulu. I'm going to this, The consumer has never been this empowered. And so therefore you have 2 seconds to blow my mind or that's a wrap. You know what I mean? So it's hard, but everybody has their challenges, and it just changes. You just have to roll with it.
What is the best thing about being Wesley Cook?
That's a good question. The best thing about being Wesley Cook, I guess that depends on who you ask. But if you ask me, it's that I'm in a very good place in my life, certainly right now. Everybody is constantly evolving and ideally learning from their experiences and trying to improve themselves, And if there's anything I pride myself on at all, is that I don't accept mediocrity from myself as far as what I do work-wise, but also from myself. If there's a quality I don't like about me that I want to change, it takes time and it takes some courage, but I change it. I don't really have any ego or pride or any of this stuff that tells me what to do. So I guess that's probably the best part, is that I'm sort of wired this way, and I'll always find my way, because of the way I've painstakingly wired myself. But I think it was also partly my upbringing, but that's probably the best, is that I feel like I can really beat anything.
I always like to end open-ended.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought maybe that after this question you could play a song for us.
Mm-hmm.
My last question. For anyone who's watching this, listening to this, they could read a transcript.
Mm-hmm.
However they hear your message, what do you want to say?
If you connect with anything that I'm saying or doing, I hope the one thing that you find and that you pick up from me, if anything, is that whatever does happen in life, this has been theoretical so far, but I've lived this in a lot of different ways, and I've never lived it so profoundly as I do now, is that attitude is everything. It absolutely is everything, I'm not saying that if you have a positive attitude, your leg will grow back, But what I'm saying is, it's totally up to you with what you do with it, and it's always up to you. And it's vast and kind of intimidating, but you always have a lot more power than you understand over your own life and over other people's lives, you know? And so I'm very proud and honored that people have said this back to me, that they're able to relate to this way of life that I'm describing through my songs, because it's not hard to find. Even in the sadder stuff, there's a beam of light running through them. It just depends on how murky it is around it, you know? So I think that's it. It's like, if you have a voice telling you to do something, then you should always go do that. And you shouldn't let the world tell you you can or cannot do anything. That's not where we'd still be in caves if people are too afraid to do that. So I guess that's pretty much it. So aside from the obvious, buy my stuff. Just kidding. But seriously, please do. That's it. That's pretty much it. That's how I try to live, and really, no matter what happens, I'm going to continue doing that. And I hope that other people are able to do that for themselves. So, do your thing.
Well, thank you very much for doing this.
Thanks a lot for having me again. It's always a pleasure.
Do you have another song in you?
Sure do.
To perform? What are you going to do?
This song is called Heavy, and this is basically the embodiment of what I just said, as far as not letting things tell you what to do. You know, it's like, take control of your life and make it the best that you can. We're here for a very short amount of time.
All right, well, let's hear
it. Won't you gather round? People got a story from a steeple and a little bit of something. I hope that you'll give it a chance. And if you do, it can help you dance, said the little old lady with the wisdom of the ages. She come up to me and she wiped the sweat right off my brow. She said, now why you work so hard anyhow? I said, a little bit of this for my little bit of that, and a little bit of paradise someday. That's where it's at. And I'll be happy when I have that. No, she said, you take hold of your life. Don't you let things take hold of you. One day you could be happy just being you. So don't make your life so heavy, child. You'll never make it out of this alive. She said, don't make your life so heavy, son. You'll never make it out of this alive. No! Don't take your life too serious. You'll never make it out of this alive. She said, don't make your life so heavy. You'll never make it out of this. Life is made of what you make. It's not made of what you take. Keep moving up toward that sun, baby. Don't be late. Little darling, now just you wait. Oh, she said the sky is high. You know, baby, that's cool. You aim for the stars. If you miss, you walk on the moon. You're such a beautiful point of view, but some people laughed in her face to pretend to the race, to keep moving up with those rats just to hold their place. Poor baby is such a waste. She said, you take hold of your life. Don't you let things take hold of you. One day you could be happy just being you. So don't make your life so heavy, child. You'll never make it out of this alive. She said, don't make your life so heavy, son. You'll never make it out of this alive. No! Don't take your life too serious. You'll never make it out of this alive. She said, don't make your life so heavy. You'll never make it out of this alive. Oh, so go do what you can. You toss out the plan that says there's no room for dreams within these walls. Oh, darling, you hear the call. So she opened up the door to mop up the floor, swaying to the music in her mind. She said, I love this life of mine. I can't buy a fancy car, but I'm richer than you are, 'cause I've had a little piece of heaven my whole life long. It's in a smile and it's in a song. She said, you take hold of your lives. Don't you let these things take hold of you. And one day you could be happy just being you. So don't make your life so heavy, child. You'll never make it out of this alive. She said, don't make your life so heavy, son. You'll never make it out of this alive. No! And don't take your life too serious. yes, you never make it out of this alive. She said, don't make your life so heavy, you'll never make it out of this alive. Da 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 ba da 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 da
Thanks for joining us on Paul Leslie Presents. You can visit us online at thepaulleslie.com. For more information on Wesley Cook, check him out online at wesleycook.com. Special thanks to Jason and Caitlin for making this interview possible. We greatly appreciate it. As Wesley Cook said, attitude is everything. So I'd like to remind you all to accentuate the positive and eliminate the negative. See you next time.
This common language that we use, where everybody has the same words to choose from, like a well in the middle of a town where we draw water from the spring. So many people saying love